gentlemen, this is the Saul Goodman, the Better Call Saul Podcast. My name is Brian, and with me, as always, is Dave. I have a little bit to say. So, Dave, what do you have to say?
No pause on that one, huh? Just straight into the Better Call Saul. No,
all right, we can start over if you like.
No, that's cool. Last episode,
this is the Better Call Saul
episode,
Podcast.
You were. Everybody clap on 3. Okay, last episode, you were telling a story and I kind of cut you off, and I felt like I might have been a little rude. So I wanted to apologize to you for being rude.
Oh, what story was I telling?
I don't know, but it definitely would have been a good story for nothing important. So we'll have to go back and listen so you can actually tell the story.
Okay, I'll try to keep that. I'll try to keep that in mind because I got stories, man.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Well, this is the season 3 finale, so that means with us on the third mic is our lovely friend Jeff. Jeff, how's it going?
Beautifully.
Beautifully, nice, nice. We made it, guys. We made it to the season finale and through the season finale.
I'm sad.
Yeah, and in a weird way, we all watched it together because we did not get an advanced screening. Sad.
We all experienced our emotions at the same time as our audience this time.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And Jeff,
yes.
you had some predictions come through in this one, man.
I did. And then going back and reviewing our own tapes that we produced, it was in the unpublished episode that we did for PWEP for like 303 or whatever that one was.
It was all part of my grand scheme. I knew you were going to be right, so I didn't air it.
I still have that audio, damn it. I still have that audio.
I think I do too somewhere.
All right, here we go. Let's go. Let's talk some episode 310, and then we'll figure out what the hell we are doing from there coming up in the future. So,
by the way, before we get started, sorry.
Yeah.
I am shocked at how many people watched our riff tracks type dealy. Like,
yeah.
What, like, really? You guys actually, did anybody actually try and sync it up?
Right. I don't know if anybody tried to sync it up, but to me, yeah, the amount of people that have tweeted and the amount of people that have downloaded it, it's really odd. If we don't put out an episode, like say, remember there was like 308 and then there was the break for a week?
Uh-huh. The Memorial Day break.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So
the infamous break.
Right. For that week, we fell off the charts because we didn't have an episode, but then the next week we were right back up there. So as we do this riff track thing, because I knew it'd be a while before we got a good 310 discussion episode out, I was like, oh, we're gonna fall off the charts, but whatever, no big deal. And then I see that we're still there. Why? And apparently a lot of people have at least listened to a good portion of us recording ourselves watching TV, which is weird.
Well, subscribers get an automatic download, and as we just kind of discussed, iTunes automatically makes you sync up your shit. So a lot of people probably got it inadvertently, I guess you would say. And we probably also got some bad reviews or like some 1 stars, but still it's people paying attention. It's activity on the site.
Right, totally.
Well, and I'm sure that people wanted to sit. I mean, realistically, if they listen to you every week, listen to us every week, they're going to take the time to sit there, maybe even replay it and try to sync it up. I'm sure there's more than a handful of people out there who did that. I'm looking at you, Mall of America, who went ahead and tried it out because it's like sitting with your friends when you do the riff tracks piece like that.
I like the one comment like silence, awkward laughter, silence.
Well,
I like to laugh. What can I say? I like to laugh.
Well, the thing is, it's so weird because a couple years ago, we actually tried doing something similar, but then we just got so engrossed in what we were watching, it literally went like 20 minutes without us saying a word.
Yeah.
And so we're like, this is fucking dumb. So we stopped it. And so Dave and I, before we started recording that Monday, we're like, all right, so the ground rules are don't try to talk and don't try to be funny.
Right.
Let's just hang out
Natural.
and watch this. Like as if our whole thing, like we're not the most analytical whatever podcast, but like we are your buddies on the couch. But at the same time, you also have a microphone in your hand, so the urge to make a noise or say something or do anything because subconsciously you're like dead air is is actually pretty strong. But
yeah, didn't I say we should put a disclaimer like if you enjoyed all the silence last time, you're not gonna like this because we're gonna talk the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you enjoyed the silence, you're gonna hate this episode. So but great episode. We'll talk more in depth about our thoughts, I'm sure, as we go through this. So sit back. Yeah. It'll probably be a long one because it was a supersized episode, which I had no idea.
Yeah, it was. I remember they did one before, and everybody's like, check your DVRs. But after it aired, I saw some tweets that were like, hey, double check your DVRs. So I guess they did put the word out in short notice.
And we missed it. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. Better Call Saul, episode 310, titled what, Dave?
Lantern.
A green lantern.
Things took a lantern for the worse.
Hey.
You've waited all day to say that, haven't you?
No, that just popped into my head.
Awesome. Here we go. So it opens up with a young Jimmy and Chuck in a tent with a lantern. They're reading Mabel. And I was impressed by the use of auto-tune to make young Chuck's voice. Because I'm pretty sure they took old Chuck and auto-tuned his voice younger and synced it up with young Chuck's performance.
It did remind me of it did remind me of T-Pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the audio guy, and I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I mean, because it makes sense to me that they would have found a younger actor that looked like a younger Michael McKean, but that voice was so spot on. And Michael McKean's voice is so distinctive anyway. I almost put money on it that it was auto-tuned down to make him sound like a young Chuck.
I just thought that kid was a hell of an actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For the 30 seconds he was on screen, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, to mock Chuck's diction, you know.
Oh, yeah. Completely.
That's what I meant.
Cynical. It's 11 o'clock at night. I haven't slept. I've been awake since 3:30 in the morning due to my kids. So if I'm a little bit more cynical than usual, it's not intentionally trying to offend anybody. I'm just really fucking tired. So
speaking of cynical, excellent segue. Speaking of cynical, I noted the fact that Jimmy questions Chuck about if she's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck reaffirms Jimmy that he's gonna be just wait and you'll find out that she's gonna be okay, which is kind of like what happens later when Jimmy sees Chuck and he's like, look, just do your thing, it's gonna be okay, just accept it.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. I like how he kind of shushed them too, right? Like young Jimmy was like trying to ask questions, and even young Chuck is annoyed with young Jimmy, and he's like, just listen.
Yeah. It was very Walter and Donnie. Like, you're like a child.
Yeah.
Interesting Easter eggs that I'm going to take credit for noticing, but I actually got from somewhere else. The Band-Aid box, the bat, the bat that's used to break the meter, and the lantern at the end are all in the tent with them.
Oh, look at you! I noticed exactly 0 of those things.
I went full disclosure, I got it from Talking Saul. Peter Gold said it, and then when I went and rewatched the scene, I didn't even see that shit. Except for the lantern's pretty heavy-handed.
Right.
We open up with the mug crash opening, and Dave, there's totally more gray.
It almost like as the season went on, it got more gray too. So I think you're right. I was being difficult about that, but I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Jeff? Is it getting more gray? Is it like my hair getting more gray?
I was going to say like Bob's hair, but sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I honestly have not paid attention, even though you guys mention it every episode. I just let you guys deal with that.
Well,
fair enough.
This whole opening thing started in the first season because it was different every time. And then we thought it would change in the second season, but it didn't. And then, so now, even though they're all the same openings in the same order, we still have to mention them. But they have been getting more black and white to them than have been in the past. And in fact, this season, I even looked at a couple of them, they've turned black and white 3 times. So I wonder if like in the 4th season, if it'll be like, like every season, and it'll add like another blip of the black and white.
I think you're right. I think it was like one time the first season, twice the second season. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Interesting.
If not, that's
Very
a
nice
rumor.
Observation.
If not, that's something I'm totally starting.
Well, we're entitled to take credit for shit that's not ours. It's fine.
Like, did you know that the pun on Saul Goodman's name is because of the title of our podcast?
No, not the actual pun. The idea to express that it is a pun.
Oh,
yes.
That's even more of a stretch. That's awesome. Okay. I didn't catch that at first. I thought it was the actual pun, but now since we moved
the idea.
The
planting
idea.
The seed.
Yeah, yes. I got you. Okay. Awesome. All right. So, show opens up proper with Kim Rexler all busted up, getting her cast all fixed.
First thing I noticed, no ponytail.
Yeah. Ponytail game no longer on point.
Nope, she's not business Kim. She's relaxing Kim. I heard she vowed to take some time off or something. I don't know where I got that from.
Jimmy drops in. He's obviously concerned, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I did want to. We called that the listener out for the whole like Kim vows to take time off work, but I think we misread his comment. Actually, he wasn't saying that was his prediction. He was saying something else because the description said that.
I don't follow anything you just discussed.
I think Jeff does, right?
Kind of. You're saying that he also read the description and basically just said that.
But no, his comment wasn't that. It was referring to that. He wasn't like, my prediction is Kim takes off work. He's like, my prediction was something else because it says Kim's going to take off work.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to make amends.
I understand.
It's good.
Build
it's
bridges.
A good theme. Had a nice little moment where Jimmy awkwardly lays his hand on Kim's shoulder, and she kind of painfully caresses his hand back. But she had like a weird expression on her face. Do you think it was because she was like in pain, or she's just kind of like unsure about the relationship because she somewhat blames this whole ordeal on him?
I
Do you
took
think
it
she
more
blames
as
it on him?
I don't think so. I thought it's just because she just got in an accident, so she just feels like garbage herself. And if she's contemplating anything that she's guilty about or unsure about, it's her own ability to do her job.
Okay.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
And seeing in him is a reflection of that she actually sees something in herself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Deep.
Nice.
Yeah.
It cut to a super short scene. Jimmy's actually collecting her paperwork while Kim sits in the car and does nothing. How lazy can you be? Why should he have to pick up all the paper? She's the one that littered to begin with.
I know. I think I said this in the other episode, but I'm gonna go ahead and repeat things I said in the other because I'm sure everybody didn't listen to that.
No need to qualify. Just go for it.
Okay. All those binders. All those papers were in binders. How the hell are they scattered all over the place like that? And they had all day. It's the desert. It's windy. That shit would have blown away by now. They wouldn't still be by the car.
Okay, well, I have a retort, but Jeff, do you have anything to say about this?
I was going to say, have you ever had a piece of paper that was in a through-hole binder before? Because it rips out like it's made of tissue paper.
Oh, what up,
Really?
Dave?
When they're all boxed up tightly. I also package things for as part of my job, and when I package them, they're pushing against each other, and a little bump like that wouldn't make them all fly over the place.
a little bump like totally
a little bump like a 70-mile-an-hour hit into a pole. Yeah,
she
and
was
down
doing
a
30.
down a
With
ditch.
those injuries, 35 tops.
In Dave's defense, Jeff, it wasn't a pole; it was a boulder.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. But Dave and I had the same argument Monday. Okay, so that's what I said. I go, papers fly. Like, if there's a binder on the... Okay, everybody had it in high school where you had your binder fall out of your backpack and somebody would accidentally kick it. And then what happens? Like, half the papers rip out, right?
No, not in my... no.
Okay, besides... Well, you had a Trapper Keeper, so that's cheating because it had the flap.
Right.
I put my shit into the plastic sleeves.
Oh, see, you're cheating.
Okay. And then also, there when it showed him picking up the papers, there was obviously more paper out there than there was just after the crash.
That's what I'm saying.
No, you said
there should have been less because it should have blown away. Those papers should be down the street, off in the desert somewhere.
Yeah, I guess I was just thinking about it. If they already towed her car away, why did they leave all the papers? Like, why did they leave all the papers? That was it wasn't like how much there should be.
Jimmy's not showing up for his community service to go pick him up.
So that counts.
He's earning hours. Yeah, so he had to go out there to earn hours.
Well, I was just saying the crew hasn't made it to that spot of the highway yet. That's what I was saying.
Still working on the underpass. Okay,
that's right.
I got it. We see Chuck and Howard at the HHM meeting for Chuck's departure from the firm.
Is that the board, I guess? He's talking to the board of directors or something?
Yeah, that's kind of what it seemed to me, and like maybe they're representatives, I guess. I love Chuck's dramatics. Like he sits there in silence, and then he goes...
all series, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been he's always been like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lawyer tactic, is that dramatic, stand there, sit in silence, say what you have to say, and then, he gets up and makes his walk around the table for his hand gesture, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like everything is planned meticulously. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Even his phrasing, like, I love the agent of its destruction.
Mm-hmm.
That's very foreshadowing.
I do like how he states that he finds the whole ordeal embarrassing.
Yeah. And he's willing to let bygones be bygones with a simple handshake.
Yeah. Well, because he wanted back in, right? Because he said those are the options.
That's usually what the loser offers, right? He's like, you know what? Let's just scrap the whole thing.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot. and I've come to the decision that we cool? It's chill dog rules. That's exactly what chill dog rules is. Like, right? Jeff, I don't know if you know what chill dog rules is, but like you get into a fight, like say you start a fight, but the other guy punches you like 3 times in the face, and you're like, whoa, chill dog, chill.
Right.
That's
then you back off. Back off.
Yeah, and you try to like oh yeah, like all of a sudden you're buddy, and you try to get the other guy, like that's pretty much what Chuck did was chill dog rules.
Right.
Right.
And Howard wasn't having it.
Yeah, Howard he wanted none of that because he took it personally. He even goes on to say, Chuck, you've lost your focus due to your personal vendettas, and when I came to you as a friend and said, you know what, you've served the firm honorably, maybe it's time that you step back and follow, one of your side projects, the Commerce Clause. Like, you always want to write about the Commerce Clause. When I came to you as a friend and like suggested that course, you took umbrage, good sir. You took umbrage.
I like how he says 18 years, because that's like Howard's finally becoming a man.
There you go.
He's standing up for himself. And that's a hell of an acting job. Like, he was almost moved to tears, and you could see, like, I don't know. He was really into it. I almost wept with him.
Yeah, and Howard's super pissed because what was Chuck's reaction to that? He threatens to sue.
Right.
Dick move, Chuck. Not cool, Chuck. I bet. I'd like to think
that's like option number 3.
I'd like to think at that moment, somehow Howard Hamlin was thinking, "Man, I hope your house burns down with you inside of it."
Well, he was really affected. I like how he gives him the check for $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
He's paying out of his pocket, and Chuck's reaction was just like hurt, wounded. Like, that was the first wound. Like, he's headed for a death of 1 million paper cuts, or whatever you call it, death of 1 million cuts.
Mm-hmm.
And
why do you think
that was the first one?
Why do you think that is? Because like
he's finally getting stood up to. That's like the bully And he's like, "Oh, you're actually like, I'm actually out. Like, this is for real. Shit got real."
Yeah, he thought he checkmated them with saying, it's one way or the other. You pay me, or the firm goes down, or you just let me be. And PFAB said, "Oh shit, no." And he decided. I mean, and he paid it out of his own pocket on purpose, so that way it wouldn't affect the business that he grew up respecting and dealing with Chuck with. Or bringing up with Chuck and his own dad, because he didn't want to let it fail, and he wasn't going to let it fail because Chuck was being a cock.
Right. I think Hamlin's showing his true colors, which we all know is Hamlindigo blue, and he's saying that it's firm first, man. Like you used to always say, firm first. Well, I'm proving it.
I love one little thing that we kind of glossed over just a bit there was you can actually see the moment where Hamlin was just fucking over it and ready to make that move because Chuck, being the lawyer that he is, tried to turn it back on him. Right. He tried to turn it back on Howard. It's like, I forget what the terminology was, but it was pretty much like, oh, well, you haven't done anything? Like, try to turn it back on him. And that's when Hamlin was like, you know what? This is bullshit. Here's a fucking check.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, so we had a small debate, and Jeff, let us know what you think. So Hamlin hands Chuck a check for $3 million and says that it's the first of 3 installments. And my response was, so is he getting $9 million now as opposed to 8? Is it 3 of 3? Or do you think it's like split up like $3 million, and $2 million?
I would think it'd be that this was an upfront payment, so it may have had more weight on the front of it.
So you got 3
and maybe 2.5.
Or maybe it's 3 and then 2 and change, because they said like around 8.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We are not privy to the exact buyout amount.
Right.
Gotcha.
This isn't like this isn't the Sandpiper payout where we just really, really do suck at math. This is I would call this an unknown variable.
$3 million from his personal funds and loans. Is Howard broke now?
No, that's probably. I wouldn't think he would get the loans to cover because he doesn't want to spend all of his money.
I gotcha.
But that's kind of an interesting comment. I didn't think about that. He could maybe he bankrupt himself to save the firm.
Yeah, I mean, because maybe he obviously took out loans. Maybe he just thinks that that he'll be able to make it back up in time because he's probably got another good 20 years in him.
He probably has a sizable. He knows he's got a steady paycheck coming in as long as he keeps the firm alive. And the only way to keep the firm alive is to, get rid of Chuck, no matter what that way is.
So, but I don't think this is gonna push Howard to like push the Sandpiper thing through. Now he's gonna want more money out of the Sandpiper thing,
right?
Which all works into what happens later in the episode. But I wonder how much money the law firm actually has, because at first, like last episode, Chuck said that they didn't have the $8 million. But even in this one, when presented with $3 million, he's like, the firm doesn't have this either.
I think they got a Finsky hidden somewhere. Check the floorboards. Check the floorboards.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Yeah, or the banana stand, exactly.
What was that, $10,000 or $100,000?
So they head out to the balcony inside the foyer or lobby, whatever you like to call it, of Hamlin McGill, and Howard gives them a proper send-off.
Oh, wait, there is a name. I'm sorry, there is a name for it. It's called the Great Room. Because I paused it when Chuck was taking his notes, and it kept saying the Great Room, and I was like, what the hell is that? And I forgot that he was at the law office the day before.
Okay. So they go to the balcony on the 3rd floor of the Great Room, and kind of give their final goodbyes. Chuck gets his, I don't know. What do they, isn't there like a term for that if somebody gets their like final applause? I guess final applause.
Their the final bow. I guess you.
Yeah, like he gets his send off. He gets his grand send off, right?
There
like
you go,
all of his right. Everybody's clapping for him. They kind of shoot daggers at each other, which was a nice touch.
The look he gives, the look that when Howard says anything that you want to say, the little exchange there, he's like, goddamn well there is, and I can't say it.
Yep.
And Yeah, and then it's just the cute little fuck you, like like we're done here, like go fuck yourself.
And then when he makes his way down, the stairs, Howard's the first one to stop clapping, and he shoots him a dagger and walks away. I thought that was
we're done.
Perfect too. Yeah.
Did you guys notice the Vince Gilligan look-alike on the stairwell?
No, I did not.
I almost
did not
said
either.
it. I almost said it when so there's like a scene where he kind of turns the corner to go down the first flight of stairs, and there's a gentleman that looks an awful lot like Vince Gilligan, and as we were watching it. It was one of those situations where the person looked enough like Vince Gilligan where I almost said, like, oh, there's a nice cameo by Vince Gilligan, but then he looked so just different enough to where I kind of pulled it back. And later on, people on our Twitter feed, there was a somewhat small debate of whether or not that was or was not Vince Gilligan. If it was Vince Gilligan, that's kind of a cool way that he kind of put himself into the scene to give Michael McKean a send-off. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
but
that is kind of a neat way to phrase that. Yeah, he actually is there to send him off.
Yeah,
but if it's not Vince Gilligan, I'd like to think that Vince Gilligan intentionally put somebody that resembled Vince Gilligan in the background, but gave him enough screen time to noticeably pat Chuck on the back, just so people would have this very same discussion.
Right? Yeah, nothing on that show is by accident.
Right, and you know that Vince Gilligan, in his meticulous way that he, frames shots and writes stories and tells his tales, you know that he has a list of people that look, a list of lookalikes that he throws to places.
He's got an entire Bluth house full of lookalikes.
Yes, exactly.
Let's just roll with the Arrested Development.
He's got a house in Iraq full of 4 Saddam Hussein Vince Gilligans.
Right. No, I think that had to be totally on purpose. The way you've just described it has convinced me. Like he's there to send him off. It's a very much more subtle than say a Stan Lee type of cameo, but pretty awesome. Yeah, almost sweet in a way. Also confirms that probably Chuck's not coming back.
Yeah, probably. Or at least not the Hamlin McGill.
Right. Well, they're so fluid with the timelines. He may come back in flashbacks and stuff.
That's true. Jimmy's helping Kim recover, gives her the yellow Gatorade. Who the fuck drinks yellow Gatorade? Fuck that shit.
The grossest of the Gatorades.
Yellow of the original 3 is my favorite. Of your orange fruit punch or lemon lime. By far, lemon lime is the best of those.
I also like the dated reference. I like the dated reference to the electrolyte craze of the early 2000s.
Yeah, you got to get the which. It's pretty much just salt, isn't it? Isn't that what electrolyte is? It's just salt?
Something like that. I don't know. I think your body makes enough.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy makes breakfast, and turns out all Kim wants for breakfast is the good stuff. I don't know what the good stuff is, but it's not ibuprofen.
I'm gonna defer to Jeff on this.
She just got in a car accident, so she at least got, Tylenol 3 probably, but that's super basic. She probably got some Norco. Which is Vicodin, also known as Vicodin, that she's hanging out with. So that's probably the good stuff. I mean, if it was really good stuff and she was real banged up, they would have given her some oxycodone, some Percocets.
Nice.
Yeah.
A lot of people using pills this episode. You got Kim, Chuck uses pills, Hector. Kind of.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Hector meant to use pills. A lot of people using pills in this.
And
episode.
The twist is they're all placebos.
Mm-hmm. I like the detail of Kim trying to use her left hand. And as a left-handed person, it feels good that a show the caliber of Better Call Saul is finally bringing awareness to the plight of the left-handed people.
Mm-hmm. I have my fist in the air. My left fist, of course.
Yeah, but you're
in solidarity.
Wait. You're a lefty, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
I always forget that. Because I'm a righty, but my thing is, like, Kim didn't choose to be left-handed, like you guys did.
Left-handed chose her.
Right, left-handed. Yeah, whether it's by birth or divine intervention, my friend. Is being a left-handed person is a struggle, and I don't appreciate you making light of the plight of my people.
Right, and that struggle is real. Of all of the realist struggles, that struggle is real. 25,000 left-handed people are killed each year using right-handed products because they're specifically made for people who are right-handed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
what do
think
you
you
think about
just
that?
made that. I think you just made that stat up with the right side of your brain.
How dare you?
I'm gonna stop recording now.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Will Kim become a right brain thinker now that she's left-handed?
Let me ask you this, Dave. Do you think you made any left-hand turns in your car today?
Probably a few.
Well, then why don't you stop with your cultural appropriation, dick?
Yeah.
Because I identify as left-handed.
You know, your car probably has magnesium in it right now.
Yeah.
That's an awfully sinister statement, my friend.
You know, whether you're left-handed or right-handed is a societal construct, and I don't appreciate you identifying with left-handed people unless you have gone through the surgeries or car accidents that cause you to be left-handed.
Right. Well, okay, I'm sorry.
No, not right. Not right, sir. Correct. Not right. Correct.
Well, that's off. I guess you're left. Left is right and right is wrong.
All right, kind of a nice moment there. Jimmy says, in light of everything that has gone on, he does not give a shit about the office when he and Kim are discussing how to go forward. I wasn't sure if that was sincere at first. I guess as the episode went on, I guess I kind of started to warm up to the fact that he was actually being sincere. But
Yeah.
I felt like it was just another put on at first.
I didn't. I kind of bought into it.
I took it as he wasn't Jimmy McGill us, slipping Jimmy in us. That he actually does care about Kim, and he really put the office together with his monies that he got and everything, just really to impress her and be with her anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
Gotcha. Kim realizes, she's working too hard, and she could have killed somebody. And, I think heavy realization, right? Like, have you ever had a moment where you've like done something so retarded, you're like, wow.
Yep.
A lot of people really could have got messed up there, and I totally I sympathize with that right now with my ridiculous commute to and from work. And of course being left-handed because at work they only have right-handed scissors. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to cut like an envelope in half or something and almost accidentally stabbed somebody.
mm-hmm.
Jeff,
So I noticed that this part that Jimmy tries to blame himself. Tell me if you guys agree with this, but Kim won't let Jimmy take the blame. And I think it's ironic that this situation is what made Jimmy realize what's important to him, quote unquote. But she's also the one who he didn't directly fuck up their life.
Yeah.
Like, that was all on her. But he's taking the blame for it when he should be taking the blame for like what happened to Chuck, what happened to Howard, all the old people.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right for a lot of reasons there, but he also kind of inadvertently caused this with all of his shenanigans. You know what I mean? He kind of put her into the mode to where she kind of needed the security and such of the second account.
Right?
Because
it was all secondhand due to his selfishness. Trying to get his ends and move himself forward with whatever means that was. Put a burden on her to also make him happy. Because he's only thinking about himself through this, whether she realizes that or not.
True.
Right, and he's not really making any money, right? That's why the settlement was such a big deal, but that wasn't a guarantee. And so she's pulling the weight. Remember a couple episodes I made a joke like, where the hell does Jimmy live now? And we actually find out in this episode he lives with her. Like they actually later on in the episode say, let's go home. So essentially she's the sole breadwinner because of choices and ways he's conducted himself.
And they did seem very relationship-y. It's kind of like a Katy Perry hot and cold situation, but it seemed to be more on the hot side on this one.
That's true.
Yeah, very ambiguous. I also wanted
They do have a legit smooch.
Yes.
Like a relationship-y smooch.
Mm-hmm. You're to quote Katy Perry, you're wrong, then you're right, and you're left, then you're right. I think we all need to think about that. Right?
Exactly. Left.
No, that's
always left.
That's correct.
So did you notice that when he's talking about all the things that she needs to be set up in her apartment out of the office, he talks about a Westlaw terminal?
Yeah.
So I looked up, I Googled that and found out that it's an information resource for lawyers, like a remote resource access, right? It's also called the West Automatic Law Terminal. Acronym WALT. Walt.
Walt. Oh.
Ah.
Did you just come up with that on your own?
I did come up with that one on my own.
Oh, look at you. That's pretty good. Look at you. You know what? And I've never heard anybody say that before. That's pretty clever, Dave. Nice.
Is that a point?
That was.
I'm not usually part of the show, so I don't know how the point system works.
Whenever somebody arbitrarily gives out a point, Jeff, you get a point for bringing up the point system.
Yep, and I'll give Dave 2 for the Walt acronym.
Oh, Jeff gets like 5 for the prediction, but that's not till the end.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
All right. Hector arrives at Nacho's dad's shop. Nacho kind of assigns himself as the project manager, trying to protect his dad a little bit. He kind of stuck his dad in a bad position, and he's, it's like, hey, look at the shiny object over here. Shiny object over here. Like, I got this. I'm covered. But
we're walking. We're walking.
Yeah, like the assholes that carry the flags, exactly at Disneyland, and we're walking, we're walking, and oh look, there's a fucking Thunder Mountain. But of course, Hector has to be the asshole kid that sees like the Cars exhibit and wants to break away from the group, and he wants to go meet Poppy, who I guess in this really strange allegory would be the Cars exhibit. So so kind of shitty though, right? Because I mean, it's very obvious, and I think Nacho even addressed it. It was like, hey, my dad's a good man, right. like he's like hinted like, hey, dude, I know we got like our own thing going on, and I know you're gonna strong arm yourself into my family's business, but can we as best possible keep my dad out of it? But which I think, now that I said that probably actually really motivated Hector to intentionally go say hi to Manuel.
It was totally a power move. As much as Nacho was trying to mitigate the situation and prove that he can do stuff, Hector still wasn't going to let him have hand in the situation. He's still going to be in control.
Yep.
Yeah, and he wanted to pay him off. Like, he wanted to pay him off personally, but like he was gloating about it. Like, look at all this money I'm giving you,
Right, like I can buy you kind of deal.
Right, exactly. I'm buying your loyalty, yeah.
Yeah, Manuel's not impressed at all. And man, Nacho's kind of a dick. I love how he tells his dad not to be disrespectful when his dad asks Hector to please leave his shop.
Right.
And he tells his dad not to be respectful. And I love the way that the actor who plays Manuel, Hector's dad, or Nacho's dad, pulls that off, because you can see his head like look up just a little bit, like, son of a bitch, did you really just say that to me? Because because Nacho's doing quite possibly the worst and most disrespectful thing to his dad that you could possibly imagine.
But we always go back and forth about this, but I think I'm more focused on the subtext, because he's not doing it to like prove something to his dad. He's doing it kind of pleading with his dad to not make the situation worse, because he knows it's only going to be temporary.
Right.
But he has to like show his seriousness. Like, this is so fucking serious. Like, I can't even.
Right. It looks like when he tells his dad not to be disrespectful towards Hector, he's obviously it appears that he's taken Hector's side over his dad, and his dad doesn't know the greater scheme of thing. So I'm saying that the actor who played Nacho's dad, it was very well the way that he portrayed the hurt that one would feel when their son took the side of a gangster strong-arming your family business over him. You know what I mean? I guess I was just saying I was impressed how that was played out.
Yeah, but I also think it's a conflict with Nacho too, because he also at the same time still has to be showing respect to Hector.
Right.
That he's still part of the team, and he's not going to put his own family over the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet the whole time
want to get capped off.
Right.
I bet the whole time Nacho is, because like, do you think that like in the character of Nacho that he was kind of hoping he would have the opportunity to kill him? What is that noise?
That is a dog drinking water very loudly by where I'm at.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sorry. I had to let them outside while we were doing this. So
it's okay. I just didn't know what that was. I was.
You can cut that out.
So in the character of Nacho, do you think it was the character's hope that he would have had a chance to kill or disable Hector with the pills earlier, and the opportune time just kind of never happened? So then, now he's forced to deal with the situation where he still kind of has to try to kill Hector, but he wished he could have done it before Hector took over the shop.
I
Totally.
think that question is answered later on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because,
Well, then
of what happens. But I think he wanted more. He wanted to take him out a little earlier. But I still maintain that it's a column A, column B. He doesn't want his dad to die, but he has to keep Hector close. And that's another way to keep Hector close.
Good point. Good call. Nice. I like it. I'm digging.
Also, this scene makes me realize I want to have Arturo on, or the guy that plays Arturo, and then not have him say it, and then he doesn't talk at all.
Francesca, man, she's putting in time, taking care of Kim, brings her flowers and her files and books. And Kim.
Well, the flowers were from Paige and her dad, Mr. Verde.
Right, but she's delivering it. She's like the courier for all this stuff
Right.
for all intents and purposes, right?
Yeah, she's got to stay busy. I mean, she is still employed.
Mm-hmm. Kim's getting ready to jump back into work. No breaks.
No breaks, no rest for the wicked.
No breaks.
Too much stuff to do, man. Too much stuff on the plates. Gotta keep them spinning.
And she hasn't even thought at this point to push back any of her meetings and such.
Right.
Which is impressive in itself, but obviously she needs help because she's somewhat incapacitated. And Francesca is actually amazingly thorough. She had an answer and a location for anything that Kim needed if Kim wanted to jump right back into work.
That's that MVD training.
Yeah,
it is.
right?
Right.
But which is in direct contrast, though, to her reading a magazine at work not too long ago. We saw her doing that. So.
Maybe that's a testament to how hard Kim works and how hard she worked herself. Like she was doing everything, micromanaging, and then when she became incapacitated, Francesca kind of took over.
Maybe Francesca's really efficient, right? So like she does all of her work in like 2 hours, and then she just spends the rest of the day surfing 2003 era internet.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Well, you do have to wait 5 hours to watch a 30-second video back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's waiting for Real Player to load half the time.
I do. Kim kind of has an epiphany, and she's like, dude, I need to take a break. Like, let's push all of our meetings back. And she kind of has a staycation and goes to Blockbuster Video.
My prediction here, this is where I'm going to say, Kim gets addicted to pills and enjoys her time off too much. And I think that's going to be part of her downward slide. Because she's probably taking the good stuff's quite addicting, my friends.
Uh-huh.
'Tis.
So,
yeah, I actually had a similar thought because I actually watched this tonight before we started recording, and I had a thought that she starts with the pills, but what if Kim moves on to harder drugs?
Oh, like meth?
The heroine.
Mm-hmm,
No, meth. Because Breaking Bad's all about meth. Hello.
Right, yeah.
But meth's the opposite of that, of pain medication.
Junkies just get their fix however they can get it, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know you
take
left-handed
pills.
people don't understand that, but us left-brain thinkers...
Some people take pills. Some of us still kill hobos at rest stations. It's, you gotta get your high.
Everyone's got their thing, man.
Mm-hmm,
Some of us take naps, and some of us take 5-minute naps in moving cars. It's fine.
The biggest question for me during the Blockbuster scene was Kim grabbed 10 movies. She grabbed 9 and went back and grabbed the 10th. Dave, as somebody who worked at a Blockbuster Video, did they allow 10 rentals? I thought it was always capped out at 6.
I'm glad you asked that, Brian. Because yes, I did work at Blockbuster Video right around that time. It's funny because apparently it still survived in the Southwest for a little bit longer than everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were closing up pretty quick. But they had a 10 for, I think it was a 10 for 5 deal or something like that. You could keep like 10 movies for a week.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. Hell of a deal.
That's great.
Hell of a deal. I know
That's
Family
great.
Video had like 7 for a week, but yeah.
There's
you
still
notice
a Family Video
did you
open
notice-
down near Jeff's house.
there's one in Joliet on
Yeah,
Essington.
weird.
Did you notice
Did
what
we-
movie was front and center at Blockbuster?
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Beverly Hills Ninja, yes, who Chris Farley has a,
Yeah, okay.
he has a personal relationship with Bob Odenkirk. Bob Odenkirk wrote a lot of Chris Farley sketches.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I like to think maybe that was a nice little shout out. All right.
I think
Cool.
so. Or they just happened to be in the B section.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because like literally earlier today I was like, oh, Beverly Hills Ninja. Way
I
cool.
looked at them all. I was making sure they were in alphabetical order.
Oh, of course.
I was looking at all the different titles.
Yep. So you got to admire Dave's dedication to being a Blockbuster employee all these years later, and he's still doing quality assurance.
That's
nice.
right.
Yep.
Best
On your
job
own
ever.
accord. Mm-hmm.
I love that job, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I talked movies all day. It was great.
Jimmy's at Chuck's. Well, he's in the car out front of Chuck's, and it looks like he wants to tear off. Only gets about a foot or two down the road and hits the brakes. Can't quite bring himself to do it.
Right. He has to have his closure.
Yeah.
Ironically, if he had just taken off, the rest of the episode might not have played out that way.
Mm-hmm. Chuck's he walks in and Chuck's house appears to be back to normal, which had to be somewhat comforting.
Yeah,
even
power on, vinyl playing.
And I like how he made sure that it wasn't a ruse because he even checked inside the refrigerator because nobody would move a refrigerator to plug it in.
Right.
Well, Jeff probably would if he was trying to pull one, but most people probably wouldn't plug in the refrigerator. So it was
go big or
smart.
go home. If you're going to try to run a scheme, go big or go home.
Yep. And Jimmy actually seems like genuinely happy for him that everything is back to normal.
Yeah, he's impressed and probably a little relieved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was more surprised than anything that there was such a quick turnaround with his treatment or whatever he's been seeking since they're falling out.
And probably feeling a little good about himself too, right? Because like he actually kind of helped him out.
Right.
Yeah.
By pushing him over the edge,
Yeah.
Exposure therapy and all and whatnot.
Yeah, part of making his amends, he apologizes, I guess, as best Jimmy can for his part in their great falling out and everything that transpired over the past 2 years, I guess has been now.
No.
But heartbreaker, right? I think what happened next, everybody was just kind of like, "Damn, Chuck!" Chuck just kind of went for broke and told Jimmy, truth is, you never mattered all that much to me. That's pretty harsh.
Unfortunately, it's not the truth.
Right.
It's like the Oracle in the Matrix. Like he just had to tell Jimmy what he needed to hear to move on.
Very much
to live
so.
his life.
Yes.
Right. So
But,
do you think at this point he was determined to kill himself, and so he said that to Jimmy, so Jimmy would have less hurt when it happened?
No, I don't think Chuck decided to kill himself until he lost his shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That it really manifested itself then. But I think that I wrote that this scene is an example of Chuck's speech. How Jimmy comes in with the best of intentions, but he really just made things worse. Because then Chuck had to say that to Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the look that Chuck has when Jimmy leaves, he has that look of like, God, did I really just say that to him? Like that really hurt. And it's sending Chuck farther down the path. So it's like if you would have just left Chuck the fuck alone,
Okay.
that's one
All right.
less straw on the camel's back.
I gotcha. Okay. Chuck's in bed and he's writing his feelings down. He takes his pills, and it's kind of, once again, people taking pills, kind of a theme for this episode. Can't stand his mind starts racing. So I guess maybe you're right, Dave. This is that was the moment he fell off the cliff, right? His maybe telling Jimmy, he's never mattered to him the moment because now he's in bed and he's doing the coping techniques where it's like brown leather journal, green what the fuck ever, right? And then it gets the best of him, and he runs downstairs and shuts off all the breakers, right?
Oh, he notates how irritated he is on a scale of 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was a 4. But the other ones were all like 2 or less.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
So it's growing, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice catch. Nice. I like it. We see Jimmy trying to make amends with Irene. He brings her donuts and to celebrate her win. He even brings shit for the cats, Felix, and what's the other one?
Oscar.
Oh, yeah, like the Odd Couple. That's right. All right.
Yeah.
And, Irene tells the story about how her friends are hurt and upset with her. And I like how Jimmy his way of like trying to make it better Well, so maybe he isn't making amends to her yet, like I previously said. But his way of making her feel better is like, hey, yeah, like a little bump in the road for you guys right now, but that'll all gloss over as soon as you guys have that sweet settlement money.
That's right. Money fixes everything. It buys happiness.
Yeah, but apparently it doesn't because, Irene is still upset. And it's like, for some reason, this is the first time that Jimmy realizes that it's Jimmy's money's not going to fix everything, right? Because he was, his whole thing for being, remember, like maybe it was a couple seasons ago where he's like, no, money is everything. Remember, like,
right,
yeah. So
Exactly.
he can't understand why she doesn't see it that way, because she's in the twilight, of her life, and obviously her friends and her social status are more important to her than whatever settlement that she's probably never going to be able to spend. But in his eyes, he's like, well, all your problems are over. You're going to be pretty well off.
Yeah. Go take an Alaskan cruise. It'll fix everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Point for Brian.
Thank you.
Okay.
Smash cut. Jimmy's at the mall with the friends. I can, for the life of me, not remember their names. Flo,
I know one of
Rita. I don't know.
Myrtle's one of them.
Myrtle. Yeah. But he's trying to shoulder the blame. He's trying to set things right. And it's at that point where, like, they're so in love with him and against her that they just spin it in their own heads to be like, oh, she doesn't deserve you. Look at how honest you're being. You're such a great friend. She didn't deserve that. And then a train rolls by.
For the record, it's Rose, Myrtle, and Helen.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Rose, Myrtle, and Helen. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right, and he's trying to convince them, like, because now he's thinking, okay, that didn't work with Irene, so maybe I can get these chicks to, kind of mend fences with her.
And right, and he's being completely honest. He really is. Like, he's like, blame me. Like, he has that, like, sheepish look I think is legit.
Mm-hmm.
He's swallowing a little bit more pride.
Mm-hmm.
And you do see glimpses of, like, his real remorse when he realizes he fucked someone over.
Right.
Here and there. That those are still around.
As Chuck said, what's the point? Stop feeling remorseful.
Right, because the job's already done. The work's already there.
Yeah, things just kind of get the best of Jimmy. And then when it comes to a head, like, then he's forced to retract, right?
Right. Exactly.
Right. Star wipe to Chuck's house.
Why eat burgers when you can have steak?
Next season, we're gonna have to learn the name of a bunch of really common transitions and wipes from, like, camcorders of the late 1990s, and that's what we're gonna use to signify every time we switch scenes. So, Star wipe. Chuck tries to kill the power meter at his house, but he can't completely stop the wheel from spinning. It just keeps going until he eventually hits it with a baseball bat. So do you guys think that that the wheel is really spinning? Because I've seen it out there. People think that the spinning wheel might be all in Chuck's head.
Oh, that would be crazy if it was. Literally, he's going crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's very possible. I guess. I mean, it's possible there could be something that was before the breakers that's connected, like hardwired to that, because it's like a safety thing or a code thing. But I mean, I don't know. This scene of the whole episode, as much as I felt bad for Irene, in all those places or in all the things that were going on, and felt bad here and there, like, this actually almost made me uncomfortably, like, sad.
Yeah.
Like, as he slowly spirals out of control in his own head and just starts destroying his own house all over something so minuscule. I mean, but obviously to him it's not, because there's still electricity flowing into the house.
Right.
And he sees proof of that. But, there's nothing on, and then he almost has it in his head that he can sense it too.
Right.
Like, he's got some sort of force power that he can sense electricity through stuff. Right. And that's what he's going around feeling the walls, like, okay, this must be the sweet spot, and starts, breaking through all of his very nice home that he's taken care of meticulously. It was just, this actually got to me where very few things do in this show.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting. Another theory I heard bandied about, but it doesn't really make sense to me, but it'll be an interesting thing to get your thought on it. Remember Mike did surveillance in his house? I've also seen the theory bandied about that what kept the meter going after he turned everything out is perhaps Mike had some rogue surveillance instruments inside the house drawing from the power line, and that's what kept the wheel spinning.
I don't think I like it, but I don't agree with it. I think Mike was only there to take pictures. Otherwise, we would have seen it used for something at this point.
Right.
You know, nobody
unless it's going to show that
surveillance.
Unless it's going to show up like in the first 2 episodes of the 4th season, that here's the actual video of the inside of him committing suicide as opposed to being accidental. But I still don't believe it because I think that he wouldn't have enough time to actually go. Because I mean, if for the meter to continue to run, that would mean essentially that it would kind of have to be before the breaker box. So it'd have to be between the meter, the line, that comes from the outside, you know, that goes through the meter to measure electricity, and then to the breaker box. So he would have had to hardwire that in, and that's all in like steel conduit.
It's not as simple as It's not as simple as like cutting the phone line to break into somebody's house.
Right, exactly.
right. I do like how when he finally came to the conclusion that the only way he was going to get the wheel to stop spinning was to bash it in with a baseball bat. I do like the way that he throws the bat down onto the broken husk of the meter. It was very Office Space-esque when Michael Bolton beat and Samir not going to work here anymore. Beat up the printer, right? It was very gangster, like gangster Chuck, like because you're not even dropping the bat at it. You're actually just kind of shoving the bat at debris.
Right.
Yeah. So it's pretty gangster, gangster of Chuck.
Well, I also noticed, like you asked before if you thought that Chuck had like decided to commit suicide yet, but he calls Dr. Cruz to cancel his appointment, and then he says, "Well, just tell her I'll see her next week." And I didn't think that was like I thought he really meant he was going to see her next week. Like I still don't think he's decided he's at the end yet.
No,
I don't think he decides to do it until the end. I think it's kind of a rash decision.
See, I think he had his mind already made up, but so he doesn't arouse suspicion.
A lot of people.
I'm going to agree with Brian on that one.
Yeah, that is a common thing about suicides is they'll act normal, they still make plans and stuff.
Yeah.
But also this is very Stanley Kubrick-esque, and I noticed that there's like the Here's Johnny shot. I was like, this is very much like The Shining, and that's that's the moment he's splitting. It's like when he sticks the axe and cuts through the wall. Is almost like that's when his personality splits. Maybe a very cinematic thing.
Yes,
Kubrick's one of my
callback
heroes.
to something else, a whole other a reference to another movie.
Also goes along with The Shining, because in The Shining, one theory is that it's all in his head, or it is all in his head. So maybe the meter moving is all in Chuck's head. But I also thought you just flat out couldn't stop a meter from moving, no matter what you do. It's always going to move.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, because there's power going to it just so it works, right?
Right. Like, doesn't the meter itself, it's like that observer principle thing. Wait, that wasn't on here we were talking about.
The meter itself uses electricity.
Right.
And you know, the company, it's not like the power company pays for that. You know, they probably charge you for the electricity that it takes to run their meter. Therefore, the wheel would spin. So good point. That's how I see that. Yeah. All right.
Also, dude couldn't wait. That was Saturday. He couldn't wait 3 freaking days. He had to kill himself because he couldn't wait 3 days for them to shut the power off.
No, man. Do you know how long 3 days is in the side or in the head of a crazy person?
I don't know. Is that like dog years?
Yeah. It's like dog years or ant years.
It's like episodes of 24.
Yeah, one day takes honestly forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nacho is at some spooky place waiting for Hector. Where the hell are they at?
Aren't they at like the warehouse or something where they
like some sort of drop zone, right?
Isn't that the drop spot?
I thought they were out at the warehouses.
Yeah, remember the Hector gets 6?
Hector gets
they had those packets of heroin or whatever, and he's like, Hector gets 6.
Oh, yeah.
One. I thought that was where they were at because they're meeting with Gus.
Right, that was a distribution center for
There you
Los
go.
Pollos Hermanos. Okay. I didn't pick up on where exactly they were, but it was dark, so I wrote spooky place in my notes.
But this also confirms, I mentioned this earlier, this confirms how we're talking about how quickly he wanted to kill Hector off. Like he's going to go shoot him. Like he's past the point waiting for the heart attack.
Yeah, he thought
And
about it,
stroke.
right?
Yeah.
He thought about it, and then Arturo and Crazy 8 pulled up. I think it was Arturo and Crazy 8,
No, it's
right?
Arturo and Bolsa.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Arturo
no,
and
I'm
Bolsa.
sorry. Victor. That was Victor. Bolsa was with Gus.
Okay, well, whoever, his he had an opportunity, right? Like he saw that he had an opportunity, but because he hesitated just enough to be run up on.
Which I got confused here because Arturo finally speaks and he's like, "You got my message, right?" And Nacho's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Are you strapped?" So like, why would he go kill Hector knowing Arturo was on his way?
Well, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Is like he's kind of desperate at this point, right? And
Right.
so at that moment, he had an opening to where he could have plausible deniability because, oh man, yeah, Hector's shot. But good thing I got my gun because I'm going to go find the guy that did it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
guess you could have set it up that way.
He had a small window. He hesitated, and then the people that were on their way showed up. So he had to rethink the plan and play it off like he didn't have his gun drawn to shoot Hector. He just had he was just prepared
Right.
for whatever might happen.
That's a pretty ballsy move, but I guess I could allow it.
I just thought of this while you guys were talking about that. Is the creepy place that you're referring to, is that the place about 4 episodes ago that Gus went and looked at to buy as a new facility?
No,
that was the laundromat from Breaking Bad.
Right.
Yeah,
but I thought there was an overhead shot that made it look like that laundromat facility.
No, I would only say no because that's Gus's place. Hector would not have a meeting there.
Well, here
I don't think Hector would show up first. I think this is more like this is Hector's place.
Well, let's do this. Let's leave it up to the people that are listening. Maybe some of our listeners out there can track it down and correct us and inform us of exactly where they are meeting, where the spooky place is. Because next week, I think we should do one last round of listener correspondence before we kind of like half-ass sign off for the season. So
Yeah.
those of you out there, since the three of us can't decide what the spooky place is, maybe you guys out there can let us know what is the spooky place.
Yeah,
So,
especially since
moving
I
on.
just totally contradicted myself. So please help us out.
Moving on, pretty much why they're there is because I guess they got to talk about shipments, and Gus and his posse shows up and they do a conference call, and pretty much it's determined that Gus's way of doing things is so efficient and not obvious, or I guess inconspicuous, that everything will be going now through the Los Pollos Hermanos delivery system.
Yeah, well, one route over the border specifically. Like they don't want
Right.
their distribution taking up multiple lanes because that's more chances of getting caught, I guess.
Right. They want to consolidate, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Hector's like, and Hector's probably, Hector's pissed because he's like, I don't even know why I took over this guy's upholstery shop. Like, why do we
exactly?
Right? Like, what's it all for? It's bullshit.
Is that where they
right?
were? Maybe they were at the upholstery shop.
Maybe. I don't know. For some reason, I
don't know.
didn't catch it, and yeah.
Yeah.
But
anyway, sorry.
no problem. So this causes Hector to finally stroke the fuck out, right?
As we like to call
Yep.
it. He strokes out, yeah.
Yeah, he strokes the fuck out, which I'm assuming this time it's for real that he stroke. Like maybe this is stroke the fuck out that we've all waited for, because there's been a couple other times where he's had like a stroke and you're kind of like on the edge of your seat, like, oh, this is it. Oh yeah, okay, he's cool again. Like
I think they definitely played this out as if this is the big one. I mean, he threw the
Yeah,
pills.
He had a huge
Yeah.
heart attack, and
Gus is
and it was
giving
just- this could be it.
Yeah,
Gus is
Gus-
giving him safe PR, which is ironic that Gus is trying to save Hector's life.
exactly, Gus. It's that whole thing. I guess keep your enemies closer. Gus could have let him expire. Hector or Nacho could have stopped Gus.
Yeah.
So many
he's too busy
scenarios.
pick-
But
He was too busy picking up his evidence, which Gus noticed.
Right. And then in the whole time while Gus is giving Hector CPR, Nacho was able to switch the pills, the original pills, back into the bottle so he could give it to the EMT when they asked what he was taking.
Right.
I think Gus was trying to save him as a reference back to what he told Mike in the parking lot of the courthouse when he said, he doesn't deserve to die like that or that quickly. He doesn't deserve that. So Gus giving him CPR, hopefully saving him, means that Hector is going to have to live a miserable, disabled life after this.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. God, it still pisses me off that Hector gets it. Well, yeah, Hector gets his revenge in the end. Gus doesn't win in the end.
Mm-hmm. Well,
spoiler alert, Hector blows the shit out of both of them. I think I said that the exact same way in another episode.
Yes, I believe you did.
We're back to Jimmy, I guess Kim.
Rainbow Wipe to Relaxathon 2003.
2003, Relaxathon 2003. Kim Rexler. trying to make the choice between To Kill a Mockingbird again or Monty Python. I don't know which one I would take. I like Monty Python, but
yeah, if I'm going for a really good, if I want a really good legal drama, I'm choosing Monty Python. And if I want to laugh, I choose.
That's my question. Which Monty Python?
The show, a DVD of the show.
Oh, okay, of episodes. Okay.
Please tell me you're laughing at my joke.
I don't know. I don't know why that struck me as so funny, but it did.
What's
I don't know. The whole exchange and just the way I heard it, I don't know. It was just something really funny. Oh, okay. Hold on. All right, here we go. Sorry. Yeah, you ever have something just hit you as really funny, but you can't really explain why. It just was really funny.
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of what happened. I don't know.
I think you're slap happy, my friend.
It might be, but I'm having a good time, and we're almost done, and it's like 120 degrees in this garage right now. So, all right. So, so they're sitting there talking, and he's even explaining how Irene isn't down with this bullshit, right? Like he's telling her she didn't buy it. Like she still is unhappy, and she kind of says, they're eating cheese chips with cheese on them or whatever the fuck they're eating. And, she's like, well, play to your strengths, which his strengths are always kind of fuck everything up. Right. So then he comes through and he's like, he figures it out and he says, how can he, Kim's like, how can you make this right? And he's like, well, I know what I got to do, but I don't want to do it. And it's just going back to when she said play to your strengths, which is fucking everything up, which is exactly how in this upcoming or in this scene, he's conducting chair yoga and he has this big elaborate scheme to basically fuck everything up. But this time for him, as part of the ruse to get the old ladies together, which would pretty much,
as I put in my notes,
his wrong.
I was at my notes say it'll set shit right.
Yeah.
Solidify a common enemy by making the common enemy him instead.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's turning the sword on himself. Or falling on the sword, as it were.
Yeah.
Seppuku.
Aaron Brill's back to being a bitch.
I want to, you know what? Irene referenced, like, she reminds me of that one actress or something, and I never looked it up, but I wonder if her character really might be based on another person. It's so deliciously annoying.
Yeah, just kind of like a know-it-all and like super proper and like kind of bitchy.
Yeah. Very precocious overachiever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's great too, because Jimmy does the whole thing where he like quote unquote accidentally leaves the microphone on, which allows her to chastise him, and he plays off as the heel and kind of outs himself for the betterment of like this little social group at the at the retirement home.
That's right.
Sandpiper Crossing.
Go invest in some Kleenex.
Yeah, I like how she's in on it because it's going to make her firm more money.
Right.
And was still able to tell him what she thought of him.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Plus, she probably made a little bit of side money. You know what I mean? Either way, she's making more money, I guess, because a bigger settlement, she's probably part of that.
Yeah.
So
at least gas money and a pack of smokes for her trip out.
Right. Exactly. So I really enjoyed that scene, even though something about the character kind of annoys me, probably because I've worked with women like that. But
I would just say that character is annoying. I mean, that's an annoying ass character.
Right, yeah. Yeah. And plus saying Aaron Brill is back being a total bitch. It just sounds so good. So good. So I really enjoyed the fact that she was in on it, and I like to think a lot of that was probably just so she could tell Jimmy to his face that she finds him detestable. I think, actually, now that I think about it, that was probably her real payment, was that she had a chance to tell him what a fucking piece of shit she thinks he is.
Right.
And then, through the method of the scheme, others get to hear it as well.
And she got to turn a whole bunch of old people against him. Get them on her side. Yeah.
Yeah. So
lots of positives for her this time. Lots of positives.
We call that a win-win-win. Irene's back in good graces. Jimmy's in the clear. And Aaron gets to be a bitch.
Jimmy and Kim are packing up the office, and they're getting ready to close the door one last time, and we find out Francesca got her DMV job back, so that'll be interesting, knowing how the series ends up. But they even say, hey, if we got something going again, you'll be the first person I call.
How did you interpret her reaction to that?
Well, I think at this point in the character's life, it was probably like more of a like, oh, great, like because she probably thinks like, whatever, they just lost everything or they're closing shop. I'm never gonna hear from these people.
Yeah, did you think that? Because at first I thought it was like, I don't want you to call me back if, like, oh, great, I'll get to work for you guys again. Like, she didn't enjoy working for him.
Right. I don't.
Then I thought about it, and I was like, oh, maybe she's just like, yeah, right. Like, you guys are going to get back on your feet.
Right. Yeah. I think in her mind, it's more they're saying that as a nicety.
Yeah.
Consider the situation, like, hey, if I ever need somebody to sit here and read travel magazines, I'll give you a call. It's
like today, I had to take that microphone back to the guy that I borrowed it from.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I was like, hey, if you ever need anything, call me. He's just gonna be like, oh yeah, I'll give you a call.
Yeah. Right. It's a nicety, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's just like one of those things people do. It's like when you haven't seen somebody in high school in like 20 years, and they're like, you know what, man? Like next time you're in town, you should call me. We'll do dinner. And you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, absolutely. and then you never talk to that person again, or even think about getting their number. But it's just because you've shared the sentiment that maybe perhaps if the stars aligned in a perfect way, you might have dinner with them. But you never. But you don't have any.
There's actually no plans.
Yeah, there's no plans, and you don't even go out of your way to get like their number or anything. It's just like, yeah, just a nicety. Like, oh yeah, call me.
Right.
Yeah. Like, have your people call my people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So that's how I took that. And
to make a short answer long, yeah.
Yeah. To make Jimmy throws his Rolodex away, Kim saves it.
You never know.
Nice. You never know, right? And I like how he see this is an important part too, because
very.
Right, because one, Chuck told him earlier that he should just because Chuck's whole spiel was, why are you even going through the motions of apologizing? You're never going to change. All you ever fucking do is hurt people. Like, why even go through this mess? Just fucking embrace it and be that person, right? And then a few scenes later, Jimmy, as they're closing up shop, is complaining. Well, not really complaining, but he even states like, well, they're sending postcards and letters with my name on them to everybody that they know, besmirching my name because, I tried to get one over on the old ladies, and then I was forced to expose myself to make everything right. You know what I mean? So like two important things.
If there's one thing old ladies have, it's too much time on their hands.
Right? But
they enjoy it when people expose themselves.
Mm-hmm, yeah, old ladies love that.
Mm-hmm.
But you see what I'm saying? It's two important elements of the character of Saul Goodman, right? His brother says you should just embrace the shittiness, right? And then now he's in a situation where Jimmy McGill is now a tarnished brand.
Also, number 3, the triumvirate, he needs a whole new business model, is a direct quote. I need a whole new business model.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not your your Mo Collins sitting around on a rock business model.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand
Solid
the
as a rock.
Doesn't that sound an awful lot like Solid as I Rock?
Yes.
Either way.
I'm just trying to throw in as many Arrested Development quotes as references as I can.
I think that's what, 3 or 4 for this episode
3 or
now?
4, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what next season the point system will be based on.
Check out Development Arrested, the Arrested Development Podcast.
The most Arrested Development Podcast. All right.
No, it's an Arrested Development Podcast because it's never going to happen. It's going to be an Arrested Development.
Nice.
Meta.
Okay. I get it. Nice. So my mind is blown. All right. So long story short, right? Like all the pieces are there. They just need to be mixed together now.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. This definitely laid out all the ingredients, which is why I'm going to say it now. I think this show's going 5 seasons because you got a year off. It's going year by year, 2001, 2, and 3. So he's off for a year, and then when he comes back, it'll be season 5, and they can bleed that into Breaking Bad.
I think. Well, here we'll talk about that in a second. Let's move on to the next scene, and then we'll talk about stuff like that real quick.
I only have one note for the next scene.
Okay, go. I'm sure it's something hilarious. Go.
No, it's just Chuck at his house burns it down.
Oh. It's hilarious in its simplicity and accuracy, my friend.
Yes.
Chuck got a lot of non-verbal screen time. I mean, even with a longer episode, his scenes seemed kind of extended, which is kind of nice, knowing that he's probably not going to be back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They allowed him to act his dick off in front of everybody for his very last hurrah.
Which he did. Even in Talking Saul, Peter Gold said that was all him. All the breaking of the walls and all that tearing stuff down, that was actually Michael McKean. They let him destroy the set.
One thing that was that I really took away from that, because I was sitting across the room from you, Dave, when that played, and you were actually visibly affected by that.
Oh yeah, it was.
I remember looking at you. I'm like,
I was haunted by that. I don't know. They did it so well, and the sound design. Cannot say enough about the sound design of this show. I noted it a couple times, like at the nachos, the upholstery shop and stuff, and like how in the opening it kind of creeps in from afar and the voices get louder, you know. And then when the house burns, it just goes silent, and it's crickets, because it's crickets on Chuck's life at that point.
Yeah, it was interesting watching you.
It moved me like Jeff watching Chuck destroy the house, apparently.
Yeah, it did. It was interesting. It was interesting seeing how you reacted to that.
I didn't expect it. I thought, because Jeff and I all day were talking about that. Right?
Yeah. We had back and forth on a text message.
Yeah, we were going back and forth about it. So then I was just like, holy shit. Like, I didn't expect that to happen.
And Jeff, what was your response once it happened?
Yeah, motherfucker. I believe.
Jeff totally called it. So, overall, pretty good episode. I liked it. It wasn't the most crazy. Some notable things. No Mike anywhere.
Mike.
Yeah.
IMDb had some DEA agent listed. No DEA agent.
The cast has changed since. Have you gone and rechecked it?
No.
It's completely. I mean, it's full, obviously, for the episode, but it's completely different than what was on there before.
Those were totally misleading bullshit things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good on them. That's some good misdirection. I guess that's what makes good storytelling in a day and age when anybody can find out anything about everything, right?
Yeah, I really like to think that Tom Thumb thing, the DEA agent, was to make us think about Hank, which means they're kind of in tune with how their fans feel, because it's oft discussed that we want to see Hank. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess before we wrap it up, I think we should do everybody get your last of the season listener correspondence in, and we'll probably do one last wrap up where we could talk about the season overall. I guess we'll do something short and sweet with as much listener correspondence as we have time for next week. So please make sure to get it into us. One other thing I guess I would like to predict for next season is I think it'll go 4 seasons, but next year there'll be a time jump.
Think so? You think they'll skip Jimmy's non-lawyerins?
Yeah, because think about it. Here's my reasoning why, right? Like, I believe that Chuck killed himself, right? And Jimmy McGill can't do anything for a year anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So I'd like to see a time jump pick back up right before he can go back into practicing law. And then just kind of through storytelling and maybe flashbacks or references to events we had not seen, or through over the course of a season, see how Chuck's suicide had affected Jimmy McGill a year after, or a period of time after. Like maybe he just can't get over it, right? And so like that haunts him, as he's getting ready to obviously be able to practice law again.
That's interesting. My theory is definitely
not to be confused with Kenny Loggins.
Right.
Just Jimmy practices law again.
Okay.
Such a dumb joke.
Did I say
that was a stretch?
He's causing quite a messina.
Wow.
Nice.
I at least got that. That's fine. So, yes.
So, my thing though is that you got to remember it's not just Jimmy's story. So it's like, did they set up where Nacho's story can take a year off and Mike's story can take a year off and jump ahead? Because are they going to explain what happens to Hector, or do we just see him a year into his incapacitation?
Right, and same with Kim too. Obviously it's going to take her some months to recover, but what's she do in her addiction spiral that is predicted right here? They
just flash forward. It's like that 30 Rock episode where they flash forward 5 years and it's just a bunch of graves.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I didn't even think of. You're right. I guess there's so many storylines. I didn't even think about that, and I think that's an excellent question for our listeners to send us for our final listener correspondence. Where do you guys think we'll go from here? Because like I said, I don't want to see them dragging out.
Yeah,
the actors are noticeably older.
Not at all.
The storyline has a definitive end. Everybody knows where it's going. I just don't want to see them shoehorn extra seasons where they don't need extra seasons.
We don't need that seahorned in.
Don't get greedy, right? Because that's what happened to The Walking Dead. Don't get greedy.
Yeah, no. Well, they didn't do it with Breaking Bad, and like I said, I think it sets up perfectly because if they're gonna push Sandpiper back, I think that Chuck's insurance money is gonna give Jimmy his seed money to start his new business venture.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe Chuck did that on purpose. Maybe he went out like that to show Jimmy like he does actually care about Jimmy, and he's gonna set him up to live his new no regrets life by getting him some insurance money.
And then after that, the first 2 episodes are going to be hour-long montages to do that time jump that Brian was talking about of the wacky schemes and businesses that he comes up with in that 1 year. So that's how you jump from 1 year to another.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Montages of Jimmy wasting money,
which would be awesome. It'll be like it'll be like the montage where he gets fired from Davison, Maine, but with millions of dollars, which would be great.
And you got to have the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man interspersed inside the montage.
Well, of course, you'd be remiss if you didn't. So. With that, thanks for hanging out with us this season. Thanks for listening to us talk twice now about episode 310. And make sure to check out the Nothing Important podcast and A Plumbus Among Us. New episodes coming soon. Please make sure that you send us your thoughts, predictions, ideas, or insults, whatever you want to send us. We'll do like a listener correspondence thing to wrap everything up sometime next week. It'll be fun. Just really anything. I don't know if you want to know our best sugar cookie recipe, what Dave's shoe size is, what color of blonde that Jeff dyes his hair with. Right, Jeff?
First the left-handed thing, and now blonde hair. Oh, God.
But
now I know why I'm not on this show all the time.
I mean, you could have said like what color I dye my beard red with.
Why do you dye your beard red?
No, but I have a red beard and brown hair.
You're much like the red raccoon.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen a red raccoon like at the zoo?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay, I got you. All right, so let's try the wrap up again. Okay, so.
I thought it was fine the way it was.
Okay, so then we'll go back 10 seconds. All right. So make sure to check all that out. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook. Make sure to check us out on the TV Time app. You can find that and a plumbus among us there. It's been a lot of fun. We'll chat with you soon. Look for the other podcast soon. I keep repeating myself. It's hotter than hell, and I need to go to bed. Dave?
Final score, Brian 3, Dave 2, Jeff 10. Call us idiots, call us geniuses, whatever. Just call us.
You kept score.
No, I just made those numbers up.
Oh, shit. It sounded so accurate. I was like, all right.